Hello everyone, it's Jess again, back to do another workshop with you. We're going to be looking at hand lettering today, or calligraphy, specifically a really quick, easy style of calligraphy that you can use for lots of different projects. I'm really sorry if anything's noisy in the background. My neighbours are having some work done and obviously I can't do much about that. So forgive me if you can hear the builders. Hopefully it won't be too disruptive. So what you're going to need today is not very much really. The only thing you really need is a pen. Any kind of pen, a biro will do, anything really you can get your hands on, and some paper. Simple as that. If you have got a pencil and a ruler, that's helpful as well. And I'll talk about some other things that you can use, but you don't need any of them, especially not to get started. So I'm going to show you a quick style of hand lettering that is sometimes called calligraphy. It's a style of handwriting that looks like proper calligraphy that would be done with a brush or with a pen and ink, but it's not. It's really, really simple. You don't need any fancy pens or anything to do it. It's how I've done my logo here. So let's get started. Piece of paper, any old paper. I've just got some printer paper here, especially when you're just practicing. It doesn't need to be anything nice, even if you can get some scrap paper, because you're going to be doing lots of practicing before you do anything final or that you like, and you can find some nice paper for that, but for now this will do. So I'm going to get started with some basic letter shapes. You don't need to know anything beyond how to write an alphabet to start with, so let's start at the beginning. I've got an A. I hope you can all see that. I've done it nice and big. Most calligraphy is joined up, so that means we've got this tail coming off the letter here. So I'm going to do that for this practice. I've got a B and a little tail. I've got a C and a tail. And I've got a D and a tail. That's it to start with. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through these letters and I'm going to thicken up the downstrokes. So what I mean by that is anywhere your pen is going down the page. So if I do this A again just to demonstrate, I'm going up and then I'm going down and then I'm going up again. So this is the bit that's the downstroke, and then I'm going down the page again with this bit. So that's a downstroke as well. So we're going to thicken those up. So 1, 2, dead easy. I've done it a little bit wider in the middle and then it meets the top and the bottom of the A there. So my next one, the stem of this B, is definitely a down, and so is this bit here. C goes down there a bit like the A, and the D goes down there. It doesn't really matter which side it's on because you're going to colour these in. So there we go, that's my first 4 letters. And I'm going to go back and colour these in so it looks like it's been done by a nib or a brush. You can experiment with this a little bit, colour them in different colours or leave them uncoloured. I quite like doing that, but you have to have done it really neatly. There we go. And as you can see, this is starting to look much more interesting than plain old handwriting. You don't need to worry for now about doing your letters on an angle. Like you might have seen, calligraphy is often sort of an italic style, but it doesn't matter for now. You can do them upright and think about that after you've got the hang of thickening your downstrokes. There you go, there's 4 A, B, C, D to get started. I am going to do your whole alphabet. I'll speed it up so you can see how I do every letter, but basically you do the same thing every time. As long as you know which are your upstrokes and which are your downstrokes, you'll get it right. But I'll do your whole alphabet so you can have a look at it. The main thing with this is not to rush really. Take your time and you'll get really good results. So let's do an alphabet. So there you go, there's a full alphabet. It's not super neat, I've not drawn on a line or anything, but hopefully you can, oh I've missed one, look, let's go back and do that, Jay. Hopefully you can use that as a reference to get you started. There's loads of stuff online as well. If you Google calligraphy or foligraphy, spelled like this, you'll find examples of alphabets like this one that you can copy. You'll develop your own style over time anyway as you practice this. So yeah, that's to get you started. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is using these pens. These are just Crayola pens. I think they're called Pipsqueaks. You can get these anywhere. I think I paid about £1 for these. And they are kids' pens, but they're great for doing a real simple form of calligraphy because they've got these big fat nibs. So I'm going to show you how I use these to do lettering. It's a little bit quicker than the other way. You might even have some lying around the house. So another piece of paper. We're doing the same thing again. Your down strokes are thick, your up strokes are thin. That's all you need to remember. And the best thing to do is go really slowly. When you do your letter, so up thin, down thick, up thin, down thick, and get to the end, take a pause. There's no rules, there's no reason to rush. I find that if I stop and think at this point about what letters come in next, I make mistakes less. I'm also not very good at spelling, which doesn't help, so I sometimes need to stop and think before I move on to my next letter. So you can get to your tail and think, right, what am I doing next? I've made this one a bit more curly because it's nice to have a bit of a flow with these pens. A, B, C, D, E next. So up thin, down thick, up thin. Again. F, up thin, down thick, up thin. You get the idea now. So most of the letters join together in a similar way. So when you're starting to make words, you need to figure out how to join your letters together. If there's not an obvious way to do it, it's okay to just make it up or leave a gap. There's no rules. The Z looks a bit different here because it's got the tail to join it up to the next letter. The R is sometimes a bit different in calligraphy as well. You don't have to do it like this, but it sort of looks like that. But you could do a normal R if you liked. Join it up, or this one, if you're joining it up from the top, is just a circle and down. So let's maybe do some words, shall we? Let's choose another colour. Let's go for green. I like green. So nice thin up stroke, nice thick down stroke. Same again. I'm going to make this a bit more lively. There we go, and another one. There's no reason as well why you can't do what we did with the foligraphy and go back and thicken these up if you want it to be a bit more dramatic. So let's do that. Especially if you're doing big words like this. You want things to put on your walls or to do it alongside another piece of art and you want it to be nice and big. That's a really good thing to know how to do. So we're going to talk about practicing. I'm going to show you how to make it a little bit neater and talk about how we can practice the techniques a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw myself a line. And what's useful to spend some time doing with calligraphy is the basic shapes. So you've got a few basic shapes in lettering. So this is a U or an I or an L, or there's lots of different letters that use this shape, so that's a good one to practice. So thick down, thin up, thick down, thin up, thick down, thin up. You've got the opposite of that, which makes you M and your N and your H and all sorts of other things. It's a good one to practice. You can do your O's. Basically, practicing your letter shapes over and over again. I'll make it a lot easier for you when you come to put words together. You'll know what comes next. It'll be a lot easier. So to neaten our calligraphy up a little bit, we're going to draw on some lines like I've just done there, but we're going to go to the next step. So I'm going to start with the thickness of a ruler. So this distance here, we call it an X height. We don't need to worry about that. It's basically the size of the middle part of a letter. So an A or an X or an O, they sit in the middle. And then you've got a line above. This is where your H's and your L's go. This is called an ascender line, so that's for the bits of your letter that go up. And then we've got one underneath for your Y's and your G's. That's a descender line. So if you want to practice doing the lettering really neatly, that's a really useful thing to do. You don't have to have them all the same width. I'm going to do my X height there, and then if I do my ascender height and my descender height a little smaller, all it does is change the way the lettering looks. Again, there's no rules. Have a play with it, look things up on the internet, see what other people have done. Let's see what this looks like. There you go, that looks a little bit different to the lettering above. It's a useful way to get neater, even for when you're doing it without the guidelines as well. You can draw guidelines and put a piece of paper over the top so you can see through them if you want to do something neatly, but you don't want the lines on the page. Or of course you can draw and rub them out afterwards. If you want to use these for practice, you draw yourself some lines, maybe copy them if you're able to do that, and then you don't have to draw them over and over again if you've got a photocopier, access to a photocopier, so you've got lots of sheets with just your lines on so that you can practice lots and lots. Okay, I'm just going to show you a couple more quick ways of doing this. Anything works, so I'm going to show you real quickly with a pencil just for fun that you can do this as well, as long as your down strokes are thick and your up strokes are thin. Let's do one more. Oh. It's okay to go back and adjust things. You'll probably have to at some point. There you go. And also, you might have come across these before, but you can also use brush pens. I've got some nice ones. This one's really big and thick, but the same rules apply as when you're using the markers. So you're using the side for the downstroke. One more. And you're using the light press or closer to the top of the pen for the upstrokes. There we go. Let's do one more pretty thing just for fun. I hope that's been useful. I hope that you're able to do some of these techniques. As I say, there's loads on the internet that you can look up and play with. The fake calligraphy is the quickest thing to do. You can get some really nice results. I'd love to see if any of you do have a play with that, have a go, what you come up with. Yeah, thanks for watching.